Good evening, everyone. The crowd is too much. See the whole crowd, they're all over the place, and you are not shouting. Good evening, everyone. I can feel your energy. That's why I'm excited. Please don't turn it down. I am so glad to be here today, and I want to thank my big friend Femi Jubal for holding up the lights. In a space where you have so much darkness, it's when you see one light, it feels like a flock. So you congratulate whoever that has the boldness to flash the light. That's why I'm congratulating him. It's not easy, because when you're flashing a light in the midst of so much darkness, you face a lot of resistance. Without wasting your time, I'm a sharpshooter, so please just try and follow me. And the topic is alchemy of foods. Alchemy of foods. We already know what alchemy is. Alchemy is the ability to transform something from one form to the other. It's like saying industry. That's where the word came. Industry is the ability to change things from one form to the other. Processing, whatever you want to call it. But on a deeper level, alchemy, it's not just English language. Language makes things limited the way we understand them. The alchemy we talk about here is light energy. So when we say alchemy of foods, we're saying transforming food from the very minute level of energy. It is transmuting energy. I wish they are projecting my slide. Okay, so that people can flow better. Yes. Alchemy of food, therefore, is how we change food. We know the normal one, the basic one is cooking food. You put raw food, and then you put your fire and the fire boils it. But the level we're talking about today is beyond your boiling. The level we're talking about today is beyond your frying, it's beyond your drying. We're talking about you. Alchemy of foods is about you, because the word food came from the word fodo. I think I've spoken about that the last time, ICC 2024. Came from the word fodo. And that's where the saying that to food is to fool. So what we're doing every day, tell your neighbor what you're doing every day. You are sitting down and eating that delicacy. You are fooling your body. You know why? Because your body does not know what is true or false. Your body does not have a mind of its own. So anything you put inside it, you are giving it information. Take that note. It has nothing, or the least reasons why we watch our food is beyond looks. The last speaker talked about people trying to be like the Kardashians. I'm like shocked. Like, how would I want to look like the Kardashians when I know what's behind their looks? So when you look at food from that perspective, you will know it's beyond weight loss or weight gain. It's about you keying in the data you want on the system. You are the system. So whatever you key in, you are telling your body, this is what I want you to take. You need to be that conscious. You are keying in data into your body whenever you're eating food. So you who is keying in that data, you are the one who is fueling your body. Do we understand now? That's basic. Now, why do we talk about, my topic is saying surrender is the new survival. I'll tell you why. The Africa we talk about today concerning food is not an Africa that does not have a base. It's not an Africa that does not know origin. If we're talking Africanizing, we are talking energy. We're talking raw. So in my slides, I said the future is raw. The future, when we say the future is Africa, or Africa is the future, we're only saying that the future is raw. Because Africans were the ones who were known for what? Raw. We were known for eating things alive. It didn't mean that we were archaic. Today's development tag us naive or primitive because we allowed westernization to define development. We allowed westernization to define civilization. You see the prayer she made here? Does it sound like Oyibo? Will you say that she's not developed? But what language does she speak? Raw. She spoke raw. That's local. When there's a program they're doing right now, the presidency, it has to do with the 774 local governments across Nigeria. And they're talking nutrition. And most of their messages is saying that the future is local. They're not saying that the future is local government. Yes, that's also their focus. But because it's nutrition, they're saying the future is home. Another word is raw. Another word is local. So if we're talking Africanizing, we're talking home. Now, we're not saying don't travel. We're only saying that you need to know origin. So that wherever you are origin. You are not losing your origin. You're not trying to be like the Kardashians. You are still very original, authentic, like the last speaker said. So, quickly, can I have the next slide, please? Okay. So when we say the future is what? Energy. The future is energy. And when we say energy, is energy at its core. That's the rawest. The least level of raw. That's where the future is. Let me prove that to you. I don't want to sound so scientific. I'm a science background person. But I want to tell you what at least one or two things you already know. Quantum mechanics. The quantum physics we're talking about today that the likes of Elon Musk are using to promote telemedicine and all that is energy at its core. It's the rawness of energy they are trying to go back to, which is what you and I possess as Africans, as the core human race who actually bettered the rest of the races. I'm sure someone mentioned that in one of the sessions online. Thank you. So if we're talking energy and we're talking food, we're saying return to raw, return to local, return to Africa, return to energy at its core. Why I said at its core is because the processed foods that the Western culture or we buy in the fast foods, or even the ones that most of us make at home, or the ingredients, most of those foods actually have energy. But the only thing is that the energy is not at its core. The energies are processed, so you lose a whole lot of energy and you end up eating chaff. And we said a human being is light. So it means that you take the raw. Let me show you how foolish we have been. We take the raw and we wash and put it inside the pots, and then we put fire on it. What is the fire doing? The fire is splitting the energies in the food. And when it splits the energies in the food, it's called fission. Fission. You can Google it. Fission means that they are losing energy. Most of us who eat okra soup, you find some okra is looking brown. It's no longer looking green. And then you are still munching. Now you feel like you are eating food. You are eating a dilapidated meal. You have used heat to cause fission on the energies of the food you're eating. So you are seriously fooling your body because your body is light. So you are giving your body food at the least of energies, and then tomorrow you're wondering, why am I falling ill? You interfere with the immunity or the integrity of your body. That's it. The moment you compromise the integrity of your body, that's why your immunity goes down, and then you fall ill, or you even start getting weak, or tomorrow, because it's consistent, you are fooling the body every time. That consistency winds up your life and gives you a result on the dashboard over time. So Africanizing is the new globalization. Do we agree? Yes. We don't have to agree because I'm here. Next slide, please. See why food and energy is so crazy. Why we have to be careful. E-transformation is energy transformations. And we know by the books, by the holy books, he said, in whom we what? Live, we move, and have our beingness. That is energy. Because every single aspect of you is light, is energy. Now, energy at its core is where you have all your being. Is by energy you move. Is by energy you live. Is the same. When I say energy, please, something came to my head. Someone is wondering. I'm not talking about physical strength. Energy is light. I'm talking light. Light at its barest, strongest level. Light at, when the holy books say, for God is light, and in him there is no darkness. It's not saying the darkness of evil. There is no depletion in the light. The light is pure light. If you have met someone who is full of the anointing, do you know why they used to push people? When the anointing gets you up, it's the light, the impact of light. When I activate myself, it has happened to me before, and I came to a place and people were falling. I'm telling you, it's not church. I knew what I did, and since that day, whenever I do that, I don't come out. I just stay inside my house and burn. When I'm finished burning, I come out. So the effect of light, right, is what we call in the Christendom anointing. But that's energy at a level, energy at a higher frequency. So the essence of food, just know, aside fooling, the opposite of fooling yourself is fueling. So you are either fueling your body or you are fooling your body. So please, you can ask yourselves, please do the mathematics. Have you been fooling yourself or have you been fueling yourself? Next slide. If you want to move, if you want to live, it is time for you to redefine eating, to understand that food is light. So we are barely eating light. And stop seeing, I wrote one time I wrote to someone, I said, don't get carried away with taste. It has no physical outcome. It only gives you pleasure. But pleasure ends there, right? But what your body receives is what? Is the energy. So that energy that your body receives, the outcome is well. When you look at Ayurveda, Ayurvedic medicine, that's the way Indians treat you. It's a very old practice system of medicine. It's been like 3,000, 5,000 years ago. They use food. They use herbs. They use seeds to heal the body because they know that the body is what? Light. And they know that the light of the body comes from what? Food, from energy. I don't like calling it food because you'll be seeing one delicious thing. When they talk food, they are talking energy, light. That's it. So when they are giving you what to eat concerning your health, they are not just carrying food, cook food and give you. No. They even weigh your energy level. So they don't go and give you high energy meal that can, you know what happens when you plug something in, if the capacitor is low, right? What happens? It blows up. Thank you. They must check your capacity to handle light. If you read it in the Bible, they say they need to check your capacity to handle the anointing. That's the same thing with energy. So in your daily living, we need to come to, it's called conscious eating. Come to the consciousness that I'm eating light. I'm not eating the taste. I'm not saying that taste is not wonderful. You should ignore taste. But that's not the purpose of eating. The purpose of eating is fueling. If you get carried away by taste, you would end up probably fooling yourself, because there is McDonald's, all the French fries, they taste so good, man. But fast food, yeah. And you finish eating, you didn't know that the food you ate, the energy in it is even lower than your body. So you know what you're doing? You're stepping your body down. You know, we have step up transformer, right? And step down. Thank you. So what you're doing to yourself is you are stepping down. But our job as humans who are light beings is to keep on activating our lights. So whenever you're eating, you do what? You are mindful of what you're eating. The whole thing I'm talking about is not what I'm not living. I'm living it. So even when I'm talking to you, I'm seeing my meals when I'm talking to you people, you know. So the next, control. No, control. Go back to the other one. Control. The importance of alchemy. Why is alchemy of food important? It is control. Let's bring back what westernization did to us. Westernization determined a whole lot for us. One, what we should eat. That's the content of the food. Two, what else? How we should eat, how to eat it. That's what? The routine. They say it's what? 3 square meal. Meanwhile, square is only 4. They say it's 3 square meal. I don't know what is the square in the 3. Okay, that is how to eat. They also design for us where to eat. Position. Where do we now eat? On the dining table. Thank you. I'll tell you what they did to you by letting you disconnect from the normal way Africans ate food, which the Indians still practice till date. But we Africans, we deviated a whole lot. Where then the next thing they also took from us and designed, they said, what to eat with. What do we eat with now? What is the type of spoon we're eating with? You say it's cutlery, metal spoons, right? Or rubber, plastic spoon. Where you these people are cashing out on top of our heads, and we're forming. We feel like that's the civilization, that's the physi. So somebody only took what you have and started redefining it for you and told you what development and civilization is. I don't get it. I keep telling people in some platforms where I speak, I said the West is not the standard. They are not dictators of civilization. I don't care whatever they are producing. And it does not mean I'm anti the West. I'm only anti them calling the shots. But we know why they are calling the shots. Economy. But why we have staged this program is to bring consciousness of the African nature, African origin to our people. If we lose that consciousness, like the last speaker said, we would be operating from a non-authentic position. And the moment you are not authentic, your voice is taken. Part of being authentic is returning to origin. Is returning to origin, to energy, local. Your authenticity, what makes something authentic is its origin, its identity. Most of us have lost identity as Africans, not just in our names, not just in our foods, in our dressing. We've lost it even in our culture, in our communication, in our greeting sense. She said, Ashe, that's the word we know in Africa. It was not amen. Amen was a refurbished rebranding. And so also goes the gods that they gave us. So they have gone, they don't chop deep into us. They have eaten so deeply into us and we're not eating into them. So when I say that the future is Africa, or that Africanizing is the new globalization, it is a time for Africans to start redefining standards and eating into theirs. And I'm glad the likes of, thank you so much. I'm glad the likes of the Nollywood industry is trying, the music industry is trying, because they are penetrating their own culture. the fashion industry too, our fashion is growing, but we need to do more. Now, aside the control, you can see all the places where they messed us up, because anyone who has given you rubber spoons to eat with or metal spoons to eat with have disconnected you from the light coming from the food you are eating. So they made sure they covered us 360 from what you are eating. If you escape, if you eat vegetables, that's you've escaped the contents, because they gave us junk, right? Processed food. So if you escape it, but then you are eating the vegetable, you are using rubber spoon. Or yeah. When you check the Indian culture, you know those days we used to watch Indian movies. How do they eat? They sit on the floor. That's the position. And then they eat with their hands. Why? They want to stay in contact with light. The light, the electricity I didn't say tiles. They don't sit on tiles. Go check them. They sit on the bare floor. And that's what our forefathers knew. And guess what? It contributed to their living long. They live young. They can hammer a woman at 80 and nothing. It was no biggie. Yeah. Go check your history. In fact, Japan women at 60 still knock like women at 30. Because of what? Lifestyle. The way they eat. But we here, we don't consider these things. We think that, oh, it's just ephemeral. It's just shallow. It doesn't matter. But you forget that the food you eat is the light that you are. Did I just say that? The food you eat is the light you are. Part of this explanation means that if I want enlightenment, right, it comes from my light, the food I eat. Let me not forget something. That the essence of feeding or fueling is for what? Lightning. Why do we put on bulbs on electricity, on sockets? It's because we want light to shine. That's what you're doing when you're eating. So the essence of your eating, you need to have that as a conscious eater, that you're trying to put light, put bulb to you so that you can shine. So the alchemy of food is telling you that if you want enlightenment, not just academic enlightenment, if you want to align with your energy, if you want your chakra to move from the lower ones to the crown, it comes also with your feeding, because you are feeding light. So you see why it looks like Africans, you say, he's a black man. You see how he's reasoning. You understand? It didn't just happen. If you check the consistency in what they ate, how they ate, and all that, it resulted to all that control. Conscious, I think I've done justice to this. The next slide. So on whose terms are we developing? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves every single time. On whose terms is development defined? On whose terms is civilization defined? Is it on our terms or is it on someone else? If we allowed it to be on someone else's term, we have lost authenticity. That's what the last speaker spoke about, right? Now, the beingness, the origin, I think I've spoken also about that. Pure light and the energy bonds. That's what happens when you boil or overboil your meals. Now, the other part of food that most of us don't give attention to is our relationship. You know, India, eating is sacred. Food is sacred. They don't just, you can't stand up and eat food and rush the way we're doing here. You can't be, it's not etiquette, or be etiquette. Whatever, it's not about ethic. It is that when we even say sacredness, why is it sacred? You think is, our normal way of defining sacred is a woman that is not knacking or a man who is not knacking. That's sacred. No. That's our religious mind. For something to be sacred, it means something, help me, something to be, is value. It's talking about value, and value at the barest minimum. Why I keep using the word barest minimum is because we need to know that it's not surface. It is not a flash in the pan. It's not something to be commonized. Now, part of the reason why food is of essence is because most of us here want to have sex, right? Most of us here want to have, enjoy life. Most of us want to live long. Most of us you don't want to be spending money in the hospital. You also want to be happy 24 hours. Like people always tell me, why are you always happy 24 hours? It is my food. Because your food defines your emotions. And emotions is where sexual energies come from. So if you are eating, you are only introducing a kind of sexual life. You see why food is so holistic. The light that you are is the light you will bring in during sex. When you say, this one is not bad, you know, say it's smelly, it's the food. I was, when I practiced in the hospital as a lab scientist, I was the histopathologist. I'm the only one in the hospital then, Keja. I worked with the Air Force. And guess what? My job was to handle semen analysis for men. So I was the only one collecting all the semen, and I did that. See her eyes. Collecting all the semen. I was a histopathologist, and I will process it and all that. And then some of this men's specimen, some of my specimen had odor. Some were clean. Some were, but in my counseling, you find out the kind of things they eat, what they expose themselves to, and it affects their emotions. Because as a counselor, of course, the essence of counseling is to listen. You must learn listening. You learn by listening, not by talking. Now, the listening is what makes them let you know what they're eating, let you know their fears, which is part of the reasons I wrote my book, My Father's Sperm. But it's deeper than what I'm talking about here. The food that a man or a woman eats is why their sexual energy is the way it is. Because if your food is a low energy meal, all your processing will stop here. You will not rise in your chakras. When people say they had orgasm, or most times it is a pre-planned orgasm. In fact, for women it's worse. Because why it's like that is because our lifestyle has gone the other way. It's on a reverse. So most women don't enjoy sex. They feel if it's not a good sex, I'd rather not have it. I'd rather not even bother. And then the men who are also the ones who are even in the real trap of sex. Why I said they are trapped is because their sex life, it ties to their success. Their sex life is tied to the success, while a woman's sex life is tied to her wholeness. When you see a woman who is not having sex regularly, they used to be irritated. When I was a virgin, my mother used to say that in a lot. Say, "Oh, girl, you need to go and start having sex so that you will not be every time." I say, why would you say that, mommy? He said, because if you are having the right sex, you will hardly be irritated. Yes, I said the right sex, not just any sex. Now, remember it's food we're talking about. Your eyes are really opening because we're talking sex. You should calm down. The food you eat is the sex you're having. Just know that. Because sometimes, probably, we experience that with men especially. They say, oh, if you have not eaten well, don't go and be having sex. You are pouring out. But guess what? It is not the food you ate that will give you the strength. It is the quality of the food you ate. The light you ate is the sex you have. You need to just establish this in your mind so that when you're drinking those processed, what's it called? Carbonated drinks. What is that? They say it's juice. Meanwhile, it's inside carton. Juice inside carton. So, and then I go to events, I see a man open Fanta, and he's drinking Fanta. I say, God, this guy, do you know what you're drinking? This is what you have, that's the sex you're bringing in. The only chance you have is to work it off the energies that you accumulated. But most of our men, we know, it's very few of them who take care of themselves. These are part of the things I wrote down in my book, your way out, your exit ways as a man. I wrote that for men, but it happens that a lot of women are buying it and giving to their husbands. I'm sorry to show that, and I'm wondering. So I think it's because they want better sex. That's why they are giving to their husbands. Yeah. Now, the mind-blowing part of food and sex is that our ancestors who were able to satisfy women and even have more than one woman, the polygamy they experienced, the way they lived, the way they ate, it resulted in the way they had sex with women. And you cannot even compare it to the way our men live today. Men feel that, oh, I'm a man already, so I can burn it out. Oh, I'm a man already, I can stay under AC 24 hours 7. Oh, I'm a big boy, so I cannot even take walks. Do you know that your sex life begins with just that you are matching your leg on the bare ground? I didn't say tiles. On the bare ground, you're already activating your sex life as a man. Why? Because the ground you are looking at is not bare, it is energy. So when you see Indians, how often do you see them wearing footwear? Even their men. Go and find out. Who gave us the footwear we're wearing? And if you are not wearing footwear, you are local. You're a British person. So if you have not understood authenticity, I'm not saying you should be carrying your foot barefoot and be walking all over the place. No, it is that you need to be that conscious and take advantage the moment you find a space to do that. Take advantage of the background. If you have to even put that up every single day, I must find myself with the ground. Put my foot right on the bare floor. I must reconnect to what? The sun. Do you know, as common as sun, our ancestors didn't joke with sun because the sun is the sun. Yes. The sun, when I say sun, I don't mean the heat of the sun because there's a timing to the sun, to the sun's heat. So your ancestors who used to go to the farm, they went to the farm early morning, right? They didn't just go to the farm early morning, they also faced the sun early morning. So they enjoyed that early morning sun as they were walking to the farm. Both the grounds they walked on and the sun that they're looking at, they're gazing, or even on their skin, is what has had sexual influences, impact on their hormones. And guess what? Do you think that our ancestors had prostate cancer? It was not a case. So you can't tell me that, I'm rounding up because most of the things now I'm talking, there are deeper things in my book. So if you want to have more as a man, especially, and then of course some part of it for you to understand the real orgasm and what orgasm can do to a man's business, how orgasm impacts a man's wealth, how it impacts his generation, how having orgasm with the right woman, because women are what? Writers. Women are people who write on your templates each time. That's why they have womb. They write, they're the ones writing. But if a woman now has sex with a man who is not even conscious, or rather, a man who is conscious, the man and the woman are both writers. There's a reason, because of the feminine energy that is in both of them. My book explained that deeply and very clearly. So the feminine energy, I'm rounding up with this one statement. The feminine energy in our males, which is always completely ignored, is the reason you find our men not just aging fast, their illness, and then the reason you see them, they have sex now, and then the next time they're looking for the next woman. oh, it has to happen. Most of the men who understand what I'm talking about, they don't need a woman for orgasm. And guess what? They are not even doing masturbation. You need to interact with certain men like that. When you hear fetish people say, don't near a woman if you want to make wealth. It's not because sex is evil. It is their understanding of what I'm talking about at a deeper level. When you hear Babala will say, don't do this at this time, don't do this, don't do that, it's because they understand energy more than you who is literate. If you want to know the rest, please, they've been telling me to round off. Please, just, if you want the book, My Father's Sperm, it has so much. Even if I'm not the owner of the book, I'm not the writer, I'll push the book and tell people to buy that book because it will save our men. I just launched that book in July. What's this, July? And I have some philanthropists who are buying it to give out to university students. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you picked something.
Okay, so let's take one question or two questions. Okay.
My question is, I discovered that raw food, fruits, raw vegetables, deplete your inner heat energy.
Your inner heat energy, okay? That's endothermy.
We need the heat energy for our necessary human being.
Next question.
Next question, please, so that we'll just take some questions. Does any other person have a question? That's correct.
Okay, when I said eat greens, eat your vegetables and your seeds, right? It doesn't mean that's the only food our ancestors ate. It is finding out the right foods that they ate. Like rice is not our food. It's a borrowed meal. It's yam. That's why when you come to a place, I go to places like all these exotic places and I'm asking for yam. People are wondering, this Jebby babe is looking for yam. They don't know why I'm asking for yam. I abandon every other thing in the buffet and I'm asking, please, can you go and cook yam for me? I went to Proti Hotel. The other time he was in Transcorp. I said, please, I need yam. Some of their waiters were looking at me like, who is this village woman? But he told me that the way I was dressed, I think I'm one big. It means I know something about light. Part of the things that also results to that issue is because most of our meals, the food industry have messed it up because of our leadership. The food is so messed up. As at 7 years ago, I was in one or two meetings. We were talking about the quality of food in Nigeria, in Africa in general. We have this company, the Monsanto. They have shipped a whole lot of GMO seeds down here. And part of the ones that have corrupted is our carbohydrates. And they are doing that, I think they've achieved that in the green. What is it called in English? Is it spinach? Spinach, cool? They have achieved that in that one, but they never do. Ginger is since. They did that with potato and ginger. That's the first that they contaminated. I mean, Irish potato was the first one because it's one of the things we even use in the lab when you want to test foods. If you want to get great results, how it will. So it was very easy to penetrate that one. They did that 7 years ago. So if you're still eating chips, sorry. Then they now did it to ginger. Yes, that one is so hurtful because ginger is what helps us to release stress, inflammation inside us. We're meant to be drinking ginger. Like, or if you want, ginger is like our AC, air condition. That's it. And then they did that to onions. But the one that hurts me so much is my beans because I love beans a lot. But the only thing is, if you must buy some of these foods, you must know where you're buying it from. I was talking with them and Soul Sisters. You have to know which farmer, because some of these farmers still have the good seed. And then majority of them have collected the other one, the GMO seeds. And these things are sold to them at a very cheap rate. And they are also deceived that it's for providing food year round. So it's all that thing. The westernization influenced the content, the routine, the position, the medium. Now they are influencing the source of the food. That's the agro. Now, so I've just given you one expo. Most of them is in my book. But guess what? The long and short of food is to break out of routine. The essence or the goal, you didn't hear me. If you heard me well, you knew what I said. The goal to eating is to stop eating. Go and ask your ancestors. Our food is sun. If you will so eat sun, you see, these are programming. Food is programming. I told you, it's fooling. You have fooled your head long time. So it got 3 square meal. Some of us have dropped 3 square meal programming. We are now 2. Some of us are now left 2. We've met me. Don't be wrong. I've met men in this city who don't eat at all. They feed on sunlight and water. Water, sunlight, water, sunlight. And guess what? They are healthier than you. When their cells are checked, somebody left here already. Where is? Yeah, Sensei. He was traveling abroad and he told me that they passed him through tests. They're not looking at his documents, 60-something years old, and they called him back. Did you say you are 61? Why are you lying about your age? That what they are seeing, that his cells is looking like a child's cells. Why? His lifestyle. Go and find out. Because part of the food is also your breathing. When we breathe, it's also part of the way we eat. Because food is breath. Said, man shall not live by. Thank you.